Groovy. Okie dokie. Right, I think that's everything. Good to go. So I am today gonna wait for a bit until there are a few more people about. Hey, Repack Thomas, how you doing? Okay, so let's just clear some of these down so that I can actually see what I'm doing. Right, so I'm going to create a new file. This one's going to call slider, I think. Right, just got to remember what number I set that to be. So that's 3, so this one's got to be 4. Okay. Good a place as any to start. Okay. Only you and me, Repack Thomas, at the moment, so I don't want to go too mad. Oh, there we go. There's somebody else. Hello, She3PO. I think I'm going to need to open up the stream in a separate window so I can actually see what's going on. My God, no, I don't want to hear myself. Cringe. No, this is RenPy, Python, basically. Going to be making a mini game. Groovy. Right, so might as well just start setting up the class. So I'm going to call this one a slider tile. And it's going to have it needs to have a number. What else does it need to have? It needs to have a is blank. It needs to have an X and it needs to have a Y. I think that's all we need for this class. I may gonna have I think that's about it. Okay, self dot number equals. I don't know if that's a reserved word, so we may end up having to give that note. Believe it or not, it is not. x and self.y equals y. I think that's all we need on that one for now. So I will. Okay, so I need slider tiles y, slider tiles x, and right, I'll create more as I need to. So first thing I need to do is populate a so we're going to set up a frame. That's going to be x line and 0.5, y align 0.5, and I'm going to make it draggable. No, it's fine. Okay, so inside that we're going to get a viewport grid. Oh, I do actually need to take some parameters into this, don't I think? What did I do for my previous one? I think, yeah, I did. I did take in a parameter. I think I'll just go with wide again. And cols equals that. Yep, and then for tile in slider tiles y. And then for, so we'll do tile y and tile x in slider tiles x. Yep, right, so I'm going to say if slider tiles y I don't have to do that, do I? If tile for tile y tile x is dot number. Gad, I'm having a spelling nightmare. Dot number is not equal to 0. No, I won't do an image button. I'll do a button actually. Button. Right. What is the name of that file again? UI tiles. Might as well just use the same one as I used for the previous mini game. So that's going to be white tile.png. Yep. And inside of that, I'm going to have text. And that's just going to be string of that, and that's going to be x align 0.5. Deal with fonts in a bit, I think. Okay, change that to that. I'm talking to literally nobody at the moment. Never mind. Right, so we've created that. Oh, we need to do an action. Right, so I will return. And I will return the I'll return a tuple of tile X, no, tile Y, comma, tile X. And I'll have to do a default slider click. Oh, nothing. And here we'll do set variable. God, my goodness me. It's because I'm slightly to one side of my keyboard. That's what it is, honest. And I want to set it to... interesting. Now I could do the logic inside the screen. No, I won't. I'll do it in Python because it's going to be more streamlined if I do it in Python. So all I will do is... I might do this as a Boolean variable, actually. I don't think I need a string. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So I will say... toggle variable, slider click, and then in the loop I'll just set it to... in fact, I could set it to nothing at the beginning of this. And then it just saves me having to do it inside the game loop. Okay, so we've said if it's not 0, well now we're going to do is... if it is 0, we are not going to... so we're going to have instead a black tile. Not going to have any text in it. And the action will be null, because we don't want it to do anything. Okay. Groovy. So, slider, blah, 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 blah. Right, so that will display our number of tiles, depending on how many wide we've got. It will just rattle through them. So width and... let's have a think. You know, in this one, I took in tiles, I added that, yeah, and then I created my... oh, I didn't do my spacing and all that stuff. For some reason I set my VP grid up on that one to be draggable, but I'm only interested in the spacing on... now where's the friggin... all the way over there? Let's bring that over to there. Yeah, I still want to do spacing. That's 3. And I still want to add my background. Like so, okay. I'm just... basically I'm referring to my previous... yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't it? But the difference here is that this was... this is a much simpler concept to what I'm trying to achieve right now, because this just basically fills... so what I actually need to do... change that to width, because it is still going to be a square puzzle, shall we say. So I've got tile X, tile Y. Yep, so I still have to create my list of, or my list of lists, sort of my matrix of tiles, but yeah, there's no point referring to that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll actually do my list now. So in this one, I need to take in the width thing, because in my previous thing, as you can see here, I've got two things. I've got the set board. So my board size, my tiles X, my tiles Y. And then, right, so yeah. Groovy. Let's just set it to 3 for default. So I actually don't need to take that in because I'm going to use it global. So slider tile Y, X, and happy days. See, there's no point sitting and scratching my head when I've already solved some of these problems. So what we're going to do here is this is going to go through and randomize this. So this randomizes what color it is. Now this next puzzle is a little bit more complex than that, so we can't just rattle through and make them random one way or the other, because it's not a binary sort of scenario, because we've got every tile has a different number in it from 0 to whatever the board size is. Hey Petra, thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Much appreciated, my friend. So board size, I want to set it up so that it's going to still be, I can still do that. Yeah, I can still do that. So for slider tiles Y, better check. No, that's fine. Tiles Y in slide. No, these aren't tiles at the moment, are they? So tiles Y in range. Slider board size. Slider board size is an integer. And then for tiles X in range size. Do. Oh, okay. Right, so I'll talk myself through what I did here. So I created my tiles Y and my tiles X lists. And then all I did was I appended my tiles X list board size number of times with some of the tiles, and then appended that into there. Now I can't use tiles X and Y because I've actually used those as default variables, so I actually have to do, I'll do S tiles there and S tiles there, so that we're not going to get any clashes in anything. We shouldn't, because this is a local variable and those previous ones are global variables, however. So I actually need to think of a way of randomizing Aha. Right, okay, cool. That's actually not too painful. So what I need to do first is I need to run through and fill a list. So I'm going to go with temp list equals, and it's going to be slider board size times slider board size. So I need to total tiles equals slider board size times slider board size. And then that is going to be appended for total. Just go tile temp in range total tiles temp list, get to that, and then we're going to go temp list dot append, and we're going to append it with slider tile no, I don't need to do that. Actually, I can just do no, it's fine. Yep, it's fine. So that's going to rattle through a list of numbers. Then we'll go temp list append. All we're doing is creating a list of random integers at the moment. The list has to be the correct number of slider board size squared so that it actually is the right size. So in a case of a 3x3, we should get 9 total integers. What I might do is after that, I'll put print temp list. There we go. Okay, so if I were to run create slider tiles from the main menu, I should theoretically print out a list of 9 numbers in random order. Spacing is not a keyword for a frame statement. That's because it's meant to be in the VP grid. I'm pretty sure. Where did I put it in that one? Inside the VP grid. Yeah, it's because I'm an idiot. Okay. Won't do it randomly at the moment because it should just create a list of integers, and then I should be able to use this function random.shuffle, and that should randomize the list. So if I go to now, it should print them in a random order. So let's just see. Hopefully it won't fall over this time. Okay, so crap, what was the bloody function called again? Create slider tiles. Boom, right, we've got our random list of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it does include 0, which was something I was wondering about. Cool, right, so we've got our random list of numbers. I know you're thinking to yourself, really all that effort just to create a random list of numbers, but what I want to do, tile 0 is going to be empty. The rest of the tiles are going to be populated with the numbers 1 to whatever. And then when you click on one of the adjacent tiles to the 0, they swap places. So it's the slidey tile game, but obviously doing that in Python and RenPy from scratch rather than referring to someone else's recipe. So this is a different game that I put together before. Members and patrons will have seen this already in action. Those of you who haven't seen it in action will see it in the next one. Yeah, so it's a fairly it's actually not a complicated thing to do. It's just getting the sort of the ducks in a row, C3PO. So I'm getting everything set up beforehand. So we've got my random list of tiles. So now I need to actually populate my... Sorry, I've got my random list of numbers. Now I'm going to create my random list of tiles. So I'm still wondering, do I actually need X and Y in the tile class? I don't think I do, but I'm going to leave it there for now. Is that tabbed correctly? I can't tell. Let's go back. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So, for tiles in range, I also need to have another temporary integer, like so. And oh yeah, of course I do. Sorry, I'm brain dead today, I swear to God. Right. So we're going to go with S tiles X. We want slider tiles X. Append. Spell append correctly, it would help. And it's going to be a slider underscore tile, and it's going to have the values. Number is going to be temp list temp int. Yeah, you and me both. Oh, I've got my... Is my tea drinkable? It is drinkable. This is exciting. I'm on the herbal tea at the moment. I know that sounds a little bit like meh, but I was drinking coffee and I was drinking so much that I was up all night peeing. Oh, that's a good hot cup of tea. Right, so temp of so we've given it the temp list temp int. Its X is going to be S tiles X. Its Y is going to be S tiles Y. And I don't need the is blank property at all, because we're doing it a different way. Okay, so that is... Get my brackets correct, my parentheses as some people call them. Right, that's that done. So that's going to fill up list X. So I need to actually empty that list each time I come to... append. Okay, so slider tiles X, it's going to fill up with however many across we need. 6:30 AM, Jeebus. Well, I appreciate your dedication. Crikey. 6:30 AM, where are you then? Are you in the States then, I guess? Somewhere. No, 6:30, yeah, that must be West Coast America, maybe, I want to say? Vancouver. Oh, okay. Blimey, I bet it's cold there. So that's filling that, that's filling that, that's filling that. Oh, I also need to do 10pint plus equals 1, so it increments that value each time. 8:38 a.m. Christ on a bike. You guys are crazy. Have you got nothing better to do at this time in the morning than watch me? Crikey. Well, no, again, appreciate the dedication. Wow. Okay. So that's filling our list of tiles. Well, yeah, fair play. So now what we've got is we've created a list of random tiles. Hey, Dumb Money Media. I haven't got much in the way of not safe for work stuff at the moment. I was going to do some, but obviously YouTube is a bit of a not ideal platform for that sort of thing. So I'm probably going to have to do it via. I may do it straight on the website and then just put them on Vimeo, or I might just have to do them on Patreon. So I will post something on the community wall once I've got some not safe for work stuff. I think I've got one on Patreon at the moment, but I wouldn't expect someone to come to Patreon just for one video at the moment. Unreal is definitely worth learning if you get the opportunity, because it is CC4 and iClone and UE5 mesh together so nicely. I haven't had much of a chance to play with characters yet, but if you use the Unreal Live link, you can use Unreal Engine 5 as like the render and can do all the controls from iClone. So that's a really cool way of doing it. So yeah, learning iClone, it's just such so much of a better way of doing animation, because it's got inverse kinematics and all that good stuff. Right, so I filled my list. Just go back and double check my previous class. I'll worry about the screen in a bit. And then, oh right, yeah, so we're saying that's it basically. Yeah, I was thinking I must have missed something up, but no, that's actually right. So if I change the name of this so that it actually makes more sense, like set slider tiles makes more sense, right? So this will basically create our list of tiles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function that checks if they're all in the correct order. This isn't actually that difficult, so this shouldn't be too much of a check slider tiles. Slider tiles, why? Do I need to do, yeah, I better do board size as well. So I'll do S tiles, X range. That's actually meant to be Y. Not that it matters, it's only a loop, but I might try and keep things in straight in my head. And range slider. If I can avoid making any typos now, it'll make bug finding later a lot simpler. Right, so create a loop, and inside that loop, that needs to be X. And I've lost a plot. What am I doing? I'm going through my list and checking that everything is in the correct order. So I will start off with temp int equals 0. Wrong equals false. So we're assuming that the player has got them all in the correct order each time. I don't know what those... I'm sorry, I'm not very worldly, but hello. If that's Siljin Tofaski, I don't know what those letters are in English, but consultations are certainly something that I'd be up for doing, perhaps a bit further down the line. I've got quite a lot on my plate at the moment, but yeah, I'll be, again, it's one of those things that workflow is tricky when it comes to all of this stuff, purely because there are so many options out there. Now everybody's default go-to is Dash Studio because it's free and because they have access to well, piracy is very popular with Dash Studio, let's put it that way. But there's only so far you can go with borrowed stuff, eventually, depending on what you want to do. If you want to get more seriously into the game dev scene, then obviously you're going to have to start either hiring or using Fiverr to get people to do assets and stuff for you, or just get good at doing it yourself. I'm terrible at 3D. I can do stuff like TVs and tables and stuff, like geometric stuff, but when it comes to characters and that sculpting, I'm terrible at. Which is, again, I think why a lot of people resort to using Dash Studio, purely because it's just so much simpler, because they do all the other character creators, the rigging and all that is already done for you. But again, in Character Creator 4, the rigging gets done for you, and Character Creator 4 is a lot more. There's just, they haven't got the size of the library of assets in Character Creator 4 at the moment that you have with Dash Studio. But the beauty of Character Creator 4 is you can import all of your Dash Studio stuff. You just have to export it as an FBX, import it into Character Creator 4, apply physics to it and all that jazz, all that good stuff. So realistically, all of your assets that you've got in Dash Studio, you can get across to CC4 and then use an iClone and then never have to use Dash Studio again, which is the end goal. I've completely forgotten what point I was going to make now, but there you go. Right, so I'm going to say if slider tiles Y, S tiles Y, S tiles X equals, let's just say not equals, actually, not equal to temp int wrong equals true. Oh, no, we need to do temp int plus equals 1. Return wrong. So yeah, I'll let you know, my friend. For sure. As I say, once my workload decreases somewhat, I'll be definitely up for doing some of that. So S tiles Y, S tiles X, then we're going through the list and we're checking them against this to make sure that they're all in the correct order. If they're not in the right order, i.e. if one of these is wrong, it will set the variable wrong to be true. Okay, let's change that to correct. Oh, no, that's fine, actually, it's fine. I just have to remember that I'm checking to see if it's wrong, not if it's right. And then in this, we can basically double check it again. So we're saying if not, check slider tile. So if it's not wrong, set slider tiles. So, okay, I'm going to talk myself and you guys through what we've done so far. I've just got like a basic screen there. It doesn't really matter at the moment. We're not using it just yet. We'll create the RenPy code for that in a minute. So in our init Python block, we've created a class called slider tile, which I need to remove that from. And all it contains is a number and its X and Y coordinates. We may not even need the X and Y coordinates at the moment. We'll see. Realistically, I could probably just do this with a list of numbers, being honest. The class is just in case I want to add some properties further down the line. So then we go to our set slider tiles. We'll do the check slider tiles in a minute. And all we're doing is we're creating a list of integers. We're getting our board size. So we're telling RenPy in our game logic for when we actually write it what the board size is. Currently it's set to 3, which means it's 3 tiles by 3 tiles, which means we need 3 times 3 numbers. So we create a list of numbers 3 tiles by 3 tiles, so 9 long, and then we randomize it using random shuffle. Randomizes the list. Then we're going to create a number 0, which is going to increment each time we lap through. And then we're basically going to go through our list of rows, and in each list of row, each item in a list of rows is going to be the number of elements across that it's going to be. So we're creating a 9 by 9 grid which contains a random number in it. The random number is they're all going to be different. They can't all be the same because we're using our random list. Nice and simple. Now, on the completely random off chance that we do accidentally get our random list of numbers to still be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we're going to just do it again. So we're saying if it's not wrong, then do it again, basically. Okay. So now we go through our tiles. Right, what have I done here? Right, so what I actually need to do is change that. That's meant to be slider tiles Y. Tile X, tile Y. Number equals there, and then we'll just copy that bit there and replace that with that. Okay, so if it's not 0, then we'll create a button which has our background and our... Now, I don't know if I'm going to have to add the size of my button here. I have a sneaking suspicion I might have to. Now, where's my image? How many pixels across is that? 100 by 100. That's nice and easy. May not be able to use that, but we will find out in a moment, I guess, when we try and run the code. So that creates our grid of buttons. Currently, we have no game logic to actually control what happens when we click on the button, but that's fine. So I'm just going to close the gap there, and then we're going to create our label. Slider tiles game, and we're actually going to take in No, I'll worry about that in a minute. Trying to get ahead of myself. Right, so create a variable called slider game. Slider game. Okay, so realistically, I can actually copy some of my code from my previous bits here, but I can't do that, but I can certainly copy that bit and just paste. Saves me having to rewrite it all. Oops, get rid of that. Well, it's going to do audio check tile game. It's just going to play some music. Don't worry about that. Setting board click, board return is equal to, and we're calling the screen this time is called slider. And board size needs to be changed to slider board size. Okay. If board click, if we have clicked on a slider button and not the blank button, what I'm checking for here. Okay. Now I need to check if it is the numbers that we've clicked on is adjacent to the button with 0 in it. So we're going to have to go with another function here. Adjacent check. So I need slider tiles Y for show. And I'm also going to have to take in I just call that one SY and SX. Saves me having to access those variables from elsewhere. So we're taking in 2 parameters. Now I need to cycle through my list. So I need slider board size again. For let's just go XX in slider board size. That needs to be range. Oh my god. Should probably swap those round because I'm cycling through them in this order. Okay, so all we're trying to do is I need to find out my 0x and then we're going to say if slider tiles Y number equals 0, then x equals x 0 y equals y. So now we know what our X and Y coordinates of our 0 tile are. And say if and indeed, my friend, nice to see you, Taurothurius. Right, so now I've got to do a series of checks to see if our tile that we've clicked on is adjacent to our 0 tile. So we're going to say if Sx equals equals I'm going to keep it simple. I could do like a friggin' massive if statement, but I'm just going to do one square at a time. So if it's on the same x-axis, but it's one lower than 0 in the y direction, return true. Now I can just copy that. Doing 4 checks. +1. And if it doesn't meet any of those requirements, then we'll just return false. Okay. So now we've checked to see if what we've clicked on is, or rather, this function will check to see if the tile that we've clicked on is adjacent to 0, and if it is, then we'll do stuff. So if slider click, if we've clicked on a tile, if adjacent check, and I should just be able to put in return because I've returned a tuple. Yep, returned a tuple, so I should just be able to send those in there. It may throw a wobbly, and it may want me to break this down into. Do you know? Let's just do it now because I've got a sneaking suspicion it's going to anyway. There we go. Because it wants two properties, and if it sees that, even though I'm returning a tuple, it'll probably go, nope, can't do that. So, if we have clicked on an adjacent button to the 0, do you know what? It might be a good idea to move that into a separate function so that I can constantly track where the 0 tile is. Otherwise, I'm going to have to replicate this code over and over again. Do that, and then get 0 tile. Global. And then I can just constantly adjust those values, and then I always know where the 0 tile is rather than having to fanny about. So let's just copy that, stick that in there. Then get rid of those 2 lines, don't need them. Cool, right, so now I can do get 0 tile at the start of every loop. Do I need to do it at the start of every loop? No, I only need to do it when I move something, don't I? So I definitely need to do it at the start of here. That does it. Oh, that's good. That's all I needed to do for now. But it checks that when we do the adjacent check, and then I can get those numbers again when I actually want to move my tiles. Doing well. We've only been going for just under an hour, and we're doing pretty well in terms of the game logic. We've already got a function that checks to see if the tiles are in the right order, so that's done. We've got our thing that's going to create our random list of tiles. We've checked to see if we've clicked on an adjacent tile to the 0 tile or the empty tile. So now what happens when we click on the tile is we need to basically swap it with the 0 tile. So what I need to do now is, well, I know where the 0 tile is, but I'm going to double check it anyway. And then I can just get some temporary variables and do a swap. So now do I get 0 tile? No, we've already done the adjacent check. That's already done that. So we've already got these variables already correct. So I don't need to do that again. So we now need to set up 2 tuples. Temp tuple A equals temp tuple B. I don't actually know if I need to do 2. No, I don't. I only need 1 temp tuple. I'm being overcautious now because I don't want to screw it up after spending an hour writing this code and then it could all go horribly wrong. I didn't even know if the screen's going to work. Yes, this could all be a complete waste of time. We'll find out soon. Okay. So I'm going to store the X and Y of the thing that we just clicked on. So I don't actually need to do that. I can just do this. Like so. So we've now stored our numbers, our X and Y coordinates in a temporary variable. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with tiles Y. Return 1. Equal dot number equals 0. I don't need to save that tuple, do I? Well, I'm not swapping. I'm thinking two-dimensionally. Okay, so I actually only need to do is save the number of so we'll set that temporary number to be that one. Then we're going to set our that job is going to be 0. Oh, there you go. C3PO's got Discord on the go. Right, so now I just change that to that to that, and then that's going to be temp pool. And then, so that should now swap our numbers over. Right, I think what I'll do is I will leave that for a minute and come up to the screen, and I just want to check that everything's good there. And let's just do a quick test run to see if I've made any typos or anything like that. I'm bound to have. Yep. Invalid syntax, yeah, because I'm a bell end. That's in line 69. 69, dudes! Yeah, that's meant to be a 1. Right, okay, so we've got that far. The game no longer crashes. Right, so now I got to in there. I'm gonna cancel that out and see if it'll actually put what I want on the screen. And no, int is not iterable in line 7, VP grid. Okay. Let's check my screen. Grid columns Y. Well, why is that different to that one? What have I done wrong? Have I overlooked something? Oh, it's looking for an iterable. What? Oh, it's because my loop. It's throwing a wobbly about my loop for in range. That's why. Goodness me. Yeah, I've given up on all that sort of thing. Honorable mention. I used to get precious about that sort of thing, but I don't run my own Discord, so I can't complain when someone does. Right, what have I broken now? List index out of range with. Right, it's checking. If right, it's checking my. Oh right, because when it goes through. If I remember rightly, where did I do the -1 on my previous one? Did it somewhere before, didn't I? I had to put in a -1 somewhere. I'm trying to remember because I can't. My brain's a bit mashed now. I've been staring at the screen for an hour. Short attention span. I need some. Sorry about the disgusting drinking noises. No, I deleted the Discord because the only people that ever used it were people that were trying to shamelessly plug their own shit and or wanted to complain about something really trivial. 9 times out of 10 it's because they hadn't watched a video properly, didn't follow the steps correctly, couldn't get it to work, and then blamed me for it. And I was just like, do you know what? I don't need that. So I binned it off. Right, what am I doing? So it's saying tiles wide. Where did I call on the screen? Tiles board size. Board size is correct in this one. So why am I struggling to see the problem here? If tiles cross is white, yes, then it's doing that, which is fine. All I'm doing is checking the same thing here. Number is not equal to 0. Not liking this for some reason. Is it because... I need to read the error message again. My brain's Fried. Okay. Definitely saying index is out of range in either X or Y. Going to give my brain a break for 2 minutes. I'm going to show those of you that haven't seen it the previous tiles game that I made. Is exclusive to anybody who's not a patron or a member. Quite simple. It shows that on the screen and then gives us this. And you just click on the tiles. And in that case, because I only wanted it to go to level 1. But anyway, that's what it does, the previous game. So there you go. Now you've seen it. That's one of the mini games I put in. This one is a little bit more complex. So, it's having a hissy fit. It's throwing a hissy fit. Is it because... There you go. Thank you very much. So this one's going to be a little bit more complex, but it's essentially using the same tile. It's just this time it's going to put a number in the tile, and you have to get the numbers in the right order. So it's ironic, isn't it? I got through all the Python and RenPy stuff without any trouble, and then it comes to the screen language, and suddenly I have a brain fart. Right, tiles up and across. I'm looking at the wrong friggin' thing. Right, wide. I'm not seeing any difference between this code and that code, so it must be that I'm not creating my list properly, I want to say. Wide. Wide is good, that's fine. Ah, no. Yep, that'll be why it's not working. I haven't actually set the board. Good God. Idiot. Right, now it should work. Hopefully. There's me thinking my code's wrong. It's just because I'm a complete moron. Right, okay, now. Int object has no attribute get item. Right, so it's saying, oh Christ, I've forgotten what the bloody, see, I'm distracting myself. Right, what's the error this time? It's on line 17. Line 17 is actually where I'm putting that. Because I'm an idiot. We're slowly burrowing in on, we're slowly sort of like zeroing in on a functioning. Right, okay. One. Okay, so list indices must be integers, not tuple. Right, so we're getting there. I want to change my color to be, what color shall we make the text? Three three 33FF. No idea what color that is. We'll find out. Should be some sort of purpley kind of color. Or really dark blue. There we go. So we're getting there. putting our board on the screen. It's got numbers in them. I'm going to change the font in a bit, but we'll worry about that in a minute. So all I need to do now is fix the code. Tiles X, Y, number 0. So that's line 81. Line 81 is that one. So if slider tiles X okay. Yep. 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 So it's been an hour and 10 minutes and we're already getting there. Right. Temp tuple. That's because I've got a spelling mistake in line 104. Okay, so I've got my X's and Y's back to front somewhat. Let's try. Swapping these two over. It doesn't matter if I get them back to front in one place, but if I get them back to front in one place, I have to get them all back to front. Essentially. Right, so it's recognizing when I'm clicking. Okay. Now I've got to do some thinking, some actual thinking, so bear with me. So we've got our board. It's putting them on the screen in the correct order because it's cycling through Y, cycling through our columns, and it's filling them up in the VP grid. That's how VP grids work, so that's fine. Just wondering if I can actually simplify things by putting an isClicked property in the class. No, because I'll end up having to cycle through the list of them all again. That's fine. Right, so creating them is fine. There's no problem. That's just creating a list of tiles. So we cycle through. Let's get those back to being X and Y the right way around. Right, so I've got my X and Y back to front again somewhere, because if I click on either of these two, it's not... Oh no, it's... It's not meant to react when you click on that one. Well, it is, but it's meant to react when you click on any of these three, but it's clearly not. I've got my X's and Y's back to front again. In fact, I don't know what the hell's going on now. Yeah, it's completely given up the ghost now. Okay. Okay, we're getting there. Actually, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to... Progress, yeah, get in there. It wouldn't be that big of a deal for me to have a is clicked flag on the class and then... That's meant to be X and Y as well. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to add another text string. And it's just going to be tile X. Right, so now every button that's got a number in it will actually tell me what coordinates it thinks it is. So that'll help me give me an idea of what is actually going on. What's Gannon down? 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0. Right, so the X's and Y's are back to front. Is it though? Yeah, it is. Let's try that again. What? 1, 0, 2, 0. No, it's still doing it wrong. God damn it. No, it's fine because I'm putting them on the screen back to front, but we're setting... There we go. That'll make more sense to anybody who's trying to figure out where my brain is at. Good question. Good question. Okay, so now when I put that on the screen, that should now 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1. Yep, right. So that X and Y is now right. So the game knows that that is 0, 0 tile. So 7 is 0, 0. 5 is 0, 2, so on. That's fine. I now need to return that in the correct order. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so that did what it was meant to do. That's now correct. That's not doing what it's meant to do. That's gone the wrong way entirely. Right, I need to set up some kind of variable to see that, check that the game knows which tile I'm clicking on. So, let's do that. And I will have a make sure I get that correct. That might not like that. In fact, let's just assume that it's not going to like that at all. And then cool, right, so that should now just tell me, depending on, regardless of whether I click on an adjacent one or not, it should now always tell me what the X and Y of the tile I've clicked on is. 0, 0, 2, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1. Taking double click for some reason, which is kind of weird. Let's put a click sound on there just for poops and giggles as well. Maybe if I cut that out of there, put that inside my game loop. Yes. Just not sure why it's making me double click. I know that's a fairly small problem to have, but better head it off at that now rather than... It's not double clicking anymore, that's good. Right, so it knows when I'm clicking on the square, which square I'm clicking on. It's something to do with my adjacent check is somewhat wrong. So I'm homing in on the problem. This fault finding process is cool. Right, so the game knows I'm clicking on the tile. That's good. That's good. What I can do is I can also print in that frame. On the next line, And this will help me identify whether the problem is in the function that checks where the 0 tile is, or if it's telling me there's a problem in the click check. Boo. I've got no idea. You guys are seeing me. Oh no, you're only a few seconds behind still, incredibly. Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Right, that should solve that problem. No, as it heck is like. Right, I'll just do it the easy way. I'll put it in a V-box. I was being lazy. Okay, so it thinks that the 0 is currently in 0, 0. Now it knows it's in. Now it thinks it's there. So if I click there, it should, yeah. Right, so it's actually the function that's checking where the 0 is that's the problem. Okay, so now I need to make sure I do get 0 tile after I've done the set slider tiles so that it's always knows. Oh, you twit. Now it should know where the 0 tile is from the minute we click. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Right, so it thinks it's in 2.1. It is in 2.1. So if I click in any of these, nothing happens. If I click there. Okay, so it still thinks it's in 2.1. Okay, now some absolutely weird and wonderful things happening now. If the puzzle was to... Right, okay. So it's copying... Solve one problem, create a whole new load of them. I haven't drank any of my unbranded Coca-Cola drink. Definitely not Coke Zero. Alright, so now we know where the 0 tile is. We're taking in X and Y. We're checking that's returning Y. Aha, that might help. So let's just swap those two round. And those two. And those two. And those two. I don't know if I've actually just, like... We will find out. So, bear with me a sec. Oh, fair enough. I thought someone was at my door. Okay. Bear with me. Sorry, slightly distracted. I thought someone was knocking on my door, but they weren't. Cool. Alright, so it knows where the 0 tile is, and it knows when I'm clicking on. If I click the tile next to it. Didn't like it when I clicked the tile above it, though. Didn't like it when I clicked there. It's not liking it when I click 0, 2 for some reason. Or 2, 0. It's got 0, 2 and 2, 0 back to front for some reason. What the hell? Yeah, 0, 2 and 2, 0 back to front. Everything else is working. Okay. Right, why in the blue hell is it doing that? Everything else is working apart from 0, 2 and 2, 0. So, when we click on if it's less than there, we return true. If it's greater than that on that scale, it's true. Ah, see. Hang on a minute. No, I'm right. I did it right. I was correct. Got all excited then, thought I'd found the problem, but I haven't. I'm going to make do a bit of a streamline. That's going to become a tuple. It's just going to mean I can just compare these two variables like for like now. This is rather unfortunately, ladies and gents. Right, where's that? Line 29. Line 29. So you spend an hour writing code and then another hour debugging it. Or at least that's how I tend to end up doing things anyway. Right, so 0, 0, 0, 0. You know I clicked on 0, 1, but it hasn't updated that. It still thinks it's in 0, 1. Right, that might be part of the problem. It's not updating the... Double check. Idiot. Because it's not updating where the 0 tile is immediately, which is probably not the problem, but... Right, now it knows it's in 1, 0. Yeah, at least it's updating the 0 position now all the time. So just when I click on 0, 2, game knows I've clicked on 0, 2, and it knows that the 0 tile is on 0, 1. And yet it's not doing what we want it to do. So it knows where 0 tile is if the x and y that we've put in. So if I don't know. I'm going to have to think about this one for a few minutes. I know what I will do. I've got no idea if I can actually do this. No, I can't, because I need an x and y value. I can't just do No, I can do it. Might not like it very much, but you can give it a go. No, didn't like that at all. It needs 2 arguments. Son of a gun. Right, so. Alright, that's weird. Just for some reason has got these 2 back to front. That's very peculiar. Very, very peculiar. Alright, rather than have you guys staring at me, staring at a screen for a few hours, I'm going to end the stream there. And then when I figure out a solution, I will post onto the community page. But thanks ever so much for watching, guys. I hope you found that entertaining. Let me know what you think in the comments if you do watch this back later. Yeah, cheers. And I will speak to you again soon. But until then, you take damn good care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.